naturally there are reasons why they don't like him. Okay? Do you know the situation when he left the WWE?
Well, obviously there's stories, all over the place. I understand that. I think Jamie knows the story a little bit better than I do. And sorry, carry on, Jamie.
Yeah, I think it was. The story that I heard was pretty much, and you can correct me if you'll know better than me, Lanny. But just as fans, what we've heard is that Randy actually wanted or felt that he should be a main eventer in the World Wrestling Federation, and maybe Vince McMahon felt differently. Is that the story that you have for us?
That's pretty much it, except for the details. And that is, Elizabeth left Randy, and Randy loved her, and he kind of felt crestfallen and forlorn. And then they gave him the job of announcer. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when he was the announcer?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yep. Okay, and then there was something that always bothered Randy, that his match with Ricky Steamboat was so great, but he was never able to duplicate it or exceed it, or even come close to it. No matter who he wrestled, he always felt that he had set the bar too high with Ricky Steamboat. Well, while he was watching, it's a little bit boring when you have all of Randy's ability, and then don't you think it might be boring for him if he still felt he had something to offer in the ring? And then he was watching Shawn Michaels, and he said to himself, I can have a match with this guy better than Ricky Steamboat. And what he did, he devised in his great mind, and he was brilliant. He devised a 2-year program with Shawn Michaels against Macho Man Randy Savage, starting out with a bottle of champagne that Randy would bring and 2 champagne flutes, and they pour the glasses, and then they drink to Shawn's career, and then Randy will take the bottle and break it over Shawn Michaels' head and start a feud that goes 2 years, ending in the second WrestleMania, where Shawn Michaels would defeat Randy and put him on the microphone for the rest of his life. And so they said to him, well, that's a beautiful, that's very nice, but we're having a youth movement, and the best thing you can do now is stay on the microphone. And he says, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was elderly, but I'll think I'll get a second opinion, if you don't mind. A second opinion was he called the WCW and asked if that offer was still on the table, the same offer that they tried to get him with twice and failed twice. Mm-hmm. Because he stayed, he didn't want to switch. But as soon as they said he was too old to wrestle Shawn Michaels. Now let me ask you, you guys are fans, super fans, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's say he was too old to wrestle Shawn Michaels. Let's say he couldn't have a match with Shawn Michaels as good as he had with Ricky Steamboat. But let me ask you a question. Wouldn't you have loved to have seen him try?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Lanny. And it's funny you should mention that. I'm going to go on a wee tangent here, but the boys and I had a look at a UK branded pay-per-view from 1992, just last week or 2 weeks ago, and the main event of that show, and obviously it hasn't been seen worldwide, it was probably only seen in the UK, but the main event and title match on that show was Randy Savage versus Shawn Michaels, and it was an absolute belter of a match.
But what Randy would do with his OCPD is, that was a cherry match, as we call it. I don't know what you call it in Great Britain, but a cherry match means first time. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're just feeling each other out. But what he did, Randy could micromanage anything. And, like he did for WrestleMania 3, every little persnickety move was thought out in his great mind. And what you saw was just a taste of it, okay, compared to how great he wanted it to be. And, some people don't like Shawn Michaels, And but I'll be damned if anybody can say he didn't have talent.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's not, if you don't like him, that's one thing, but let's not take away what obviously he has in great abundance. So anyway, it was the fans that got cheated. So then, actually, there was no heat. Vince gave a nice speech. Do you remember the thing? It's on YouTube. He said he wished him Godspeed.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Jamie, have you seen that? Andy?
Yeah, I have indeed. Yeah, I've seen it. Where basically it was wishing them all the luck in the future and things like that. And I think even as fans, Randy did prove what the WWF, the then World Wrestling Federation, said wrong. When he went to WCW and proved that he was still, this super worker.
Okay, well, here's the thing. It's true that Randy couldn't keep up WrestleMania 3 athleticism his whole career. He had hurt his knees, and he had a few miles on him. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm also saying that even a 60% Macho Man is better than nothing.